Benjamin Sesko, Adeyemi, Moukoko. There's a certain few Football Manager Wonderkids that us FM players seem to sign pretty much every single time. But there's some Wonderkids that have very good potential but just aren't bought nearly as often as some of their counterparts. So today we're going to be looking at some of the most underrated Wonderkids in FM22. Hi everyone, Jake here for FMSCOUT, and as I mentioned in that intro, we'll be looking at some of the most underrated Wonderkids in FM22. These are Wonderkids that actually have good potential, most of them 170 to 140 potential range, so they'll always be pretty good players at their peak, but we'll be focusing on the players that people just aren't signing as often, I hear no one talk about, and I think they deserve a little bit more credit. So if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get in to the goalkeeper. We're building a team of 11 players, so of course we need someone in between the sticks, and we are going with the 16-year-old Portuguese national from Benfica's under-19s, Andre Gomes, who you can sign for about £5 million. Now, there's a few things to caveat with this man. One being, I have to have a goalkeeper for these videos, and I find it hard to talk about goalkeeping Wonderkids anyway, but you can see the reason, I think, the big reason why a lot of people wouldn't sign this guy, despite the fact that he's got one of the best potential ranges out of any goalkeeper in the game this year, and that is because he is 5'10", which of course isn't ideal for a goalkeeper, but if that is something that bothers you, scout him a few years, I'm sure his physicals will develop rapidly over the next few years, and that should include a height increase to hopefully at least 6 foot. Like I say, we have to have a goalkeeper in these videos. I just think, considering his potential, he isn't signed nearly as often as he should be. We're moving into the defence now, and a centre-back that will be in most of your guys' saves can be picked up for a very small amount and actually has a similar potential ability rating to a lot of those well-known centre-backs that you know. Giorgio Scalvani is definitely worth a pickup. The 17-year-old Italian plays for Atalanta and has a great set of starting attributes. His physicals are very well balanced and he's 6'4", which is great. His mentals are also pretty nice too. He's not a terrible passer of a football, he can defend pretty well, and I find it very strange that I'm not seeing more people talk about this man. I think he's a top tier Wonderkid centre-back, like right at the top. If you're looking for a quality Italian centre-back to hold the back line down, give Scalvini a try, show him some love. Before we get into the next player though, this video is sponsored by the good people over at SPITCH, so bear with me a few seconds while I tell you a little bit about them. If you haven't heard me talking about it already, SPITCH is a fantasy football app available for people in the UK, Ireland, Germany and Austria over the age of 18. Now, unlike normal fantasy football that's a season-long format and you have to pick your team for the whole season, making a few transfers a week, in SPITCH you actually focus on individual weekly tournaments where you can select your side specifically for that tournament. Now, there's paid and free tournaments that you can enter, all of which have their own unique rewards and prizes to be won, and it is super fun. There's some great statistical analysis on there as well to help you pick your team the way that I'm doing on screen right now. All you need to do to get involved is go to the description where you'll find a link to SPITCH. You'll download that, register on the app, and you'll be ready to play, and hopefully you can prove to everyone that you really are the best fantasy football manager player around. So if you want to check it out, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you SPITCH for sponsoring the video, and now let's get back to player number 3. Salzburg are of course known for hosting many a Wonderkid over the last few years, particularly in that striker position. Adeyemi, Sesko, Haaland, just to name a few very good football manager Wonderkids that have passed through their ranks. However, in centre-back there is actually a very good option, an 18-year-old by the name of Brian Oko. He's a Swiss under-21 international who's available for around £5 million, and my favourite thing about this guy is, one, he's 18, so he's got a lot of time to develop, but you can add into that already a great set of physicals, but even better, he is very good with both feet. He's multi-footed, which means you can play him on either side of that back two pairing without having to worry about his passing ability, and whilst yes, he isn't actually the best passer of the ball, it will help him that he is both footed. Now, you can develop everything else with time. I understand his mentals and technicals aren't the best right now, but with some development, Brian Oko can definitely be a top tier player because he does actually have a high potential range. If you haven't tried him yet, scout him, check him out. He could be a very good player for you. Alejandro Francis is a Spanish player playing for Zaragoza, who I believe are in the second division of Spain. They are now in the second division of Spain, and I think he makes a great signing, so much so that we've actually signed him in my Villarreal save, which, subtle plug, you can find linked in the description. Any support over there is greatly appreciated as we get close to that 8,000 subscriber mark. This man can play both centre back and right back, but for me, because of his height, I would stick to right back. In my Villarreal save, we're using him as a wide centre-back, so I think that kind of balances it out a little bit. We do play 3 at the back, but I think this guy is absolutely brilliant because he is so well-rounded right from the off. He can use both feet. He's very versatile across that whole back line. You shouldn't have to break the bank for him either because he is in a second division Spanish team. I can assure you, if he played for Real Madrid or Barca, you would have to pay a lot of money, but you can see here, the game reckons he's valued at around 10 million. As he is in Spain, he will have a release clause, and whilst I don't know if the value remains the same in every save, in this save at least, it's £12.5 million to sign what is a very good right back, centre back option who will serve you well for the future. Alejandro Francis, great option. Check him out. Check my channel out if you want to. Let's move on to our left back. And there we have Amar Dedic, who is technically also a right back. He's actually natural at left back, even though he's right-footed, which makes me think he is going to be a perfect inverted wing back. I think he looks really good. The Bosnian has 1 cap for the under-21 team, and his physicals, mentals, and his technicals as well are nicely balanced. He's not lacking in too many areas. Add into that some good determination, and you have got a prospect here who could do very well. Slight problem though, and the reason that I think a lot of people don't sign him is it because initially he is on loan to Wolfsburg, so maybe wait it out, see how he does on his loan, check out what happens to him when he comes back to Salzburg, and maybe you can pick him up on a cut price deal. He's a fullback with a lot of potential and someone that I think could impact your sides at the highest level. In Valencia's B team, you'll find a Frenchman by the name of Koba Lane. Apologies if I've pronounced that wrong, but I think this guy looks very good, and I was surprised I haven't came across him on too many other occasions. I can imagine he can easily stall in this B team and not get given a chance, which will of course stunt his growth. Off the top of my head, I think he can reach 170 potential range, depending on where that value falls when you start up your save. But the 19-year-old has some very nice balanced attributes, and one of the things I like the most is the fact that he can tackle just as well as he can pass. He's got defensive elements to his game, but he can also progress the ball forward, and whilst his vision might need a bit of work, as well as his positioning and his determination of course in this save is very, very low. Hopefully that isn't the case in yours, but if it is, maybe avoid him. If it's not, he can definitely be a top tier player. Maybe he could be the perfect box-to-box midfielder. To be able to combine tackling and passing at this level is a great sign of a top tier player. Just hope that determination isn't too low and you might have a great signing on your hands. Our other centre mid is Astor Vranks of Wolfsburg. Now, unlike the last player we looked at, I feel like, considering he is 1 year younger, Vranks is a lot more recognised in the style of player that he wants to be. He is the perfect all-round midfielder, good with both feet, balanced physically, 6 foot tall, very good mentally and balanced technically too, not lacking in too many areas. He is a very good box to box, a good mezzala, ball winning midfielder, whatever you want to try. I think the Belgian will do the job. Considering his potential, I haven't seen a lot of people using him, and I've used him hands-on in my Wolfsburg save, and I thought he was very good. As a team, we did progress quicker than him, which meant that he got left behind in the later years, but early on, this guy was a revelation. He loves scoring a chip shot. He has recently signed for Wolfsburg though, so you will have to wait a little bit before you're able to sign him, but as a player who can also fill in as a DM, he is a very good central midfielder option, and whilst he will cost you a lot of money, this guy is the real deal when it comes to centre mids. Koba Torre is a player that I had not came across until I looked recently, so I assume he was added in the winter update window. I feel like I had a lot of the Wonderkids memorised from before that, and then after a new bunch came along that I haven't been able to keep up with. I could be wrong, but Koba Torre, the 16-year-old, is a very good option for a few reasons. One, he's got a lot of potential, more than many other players that you might usually sign, so he's definitely worth keeping an eye on. Two, his valuation is very low because you can actually approach to sign, and it's not just one of those where you click on it and he doesn't want to discuss. You can actually get involved and try and bring him from Milan to your club for a compensation fee. And then outside of that, he's versatile on both wings. At the age of 16, he's got a lot, and I mean a lot of time to develop based on what kind of player you want him to become. And he's already getting some of the key elements of being a good winger. At 16, he might not be the world's best, but he is pacey, a good dribbler with good first touch, technique and decent passing. He has the ability to be a real game changer, and to be able to sign him on a compensation fee deal might just be worth getting in on. On the other wing, I'm going for a player that does not get anywhere near enough credit, Elias Akkamatch of Barcelona, a 17-year-old who won't cost you too much money. He has a release clause of only just over £5 million, and you are getting a 17-year-old who is already becoming a very recognised player in terms of the attributes that he is beginning to develop. He is someone that's going to cut in from the right hand side. Simple as. The reason I think this guy doesn't get enough credit considering his potential, one, from what I'm aware of, in my saves at least, he's been quite injury prone. Whether that's something that's randomised, I'm not sure with this player, but it is something just to keep an eye on, just in case. But I think two, it's because he's in a team where there's Gavi, there's Nico, there's Pedri, there's Ansu Fati, amongst many others. He really does fall under the radar compared to them, but this man has technique, vision, flair off the ball, decent physicals, really good dribbling as well. He can be a perfect inverted winger and someone that I should sign on more occasions than I do. He's got the traits to suit his play as well, and I really think that he can become an amazing player on that wing at full development. Get in there early before Barca give him a new deal, and you could get the Spaniard for a cut price, and he could really pave the way on that right hand side in your team. Another great Spanish youngster is Pablo Torre, who for his value and his quality is not spoken about enough. He plays for this club, Racing Santander, who from what I can tell are in the Spanish Federation First Division. That seems quite low down, so I don't know if that is correct, but that looks like where he's at. And the 18-year-old, if he is at that kind of level, it's crazy that he is, because he's good with both feet. Whilst his physicals might need a little bit of work, he is technically and mentally excellent, and he's not going to cost you all that much. Yes, he has a release clause of 6.75 million, but I think it must be because of the club that he's at. You can get him for a cut price. In this case, it looks like they're asking for about 1 million. That looks like a steal for a kind of player who is already ready-made quality in that attacking midfield position. So if you haven't checked him out, check him out in the future. And finally, we stay in the Spanish divisions to look at Andre Lucas Gurjansen, who, if I'm correct, is Ida Gurjansen's son, and he is. You can see it here. The Icelandic striker playing for Real Madrid's B team is a great value option for a few reasons. Now, at 19, I think his attributes are quite low for the kind of player he is. However, he has the same potential range as some fan favourites this year. With 170 as his max potential, he's just as good as a Roberto Piccoli could be. It's just that his starting attributes start a little bit lower, but that does mean you can get him for a cut price fee. Let's say we meet Real Madrid in the middle here and pay like 2 million for this guy. He has a release clause of 5, but let's meet him in the middle and pay 2.5 million. You're getting a striker who physically is already getting perfectly suited to that target forward role. While some of his mental attributes are particularly low, some of the others aren't too bad, and hopefully if his determination is better in your save, you can work with this guy. He's a good header of the football, he's a good finisher, and he is someone that you can get for a good price because his contract is expiring in his first year at Real Madrid in the game. Maybe keep an eye on him. If you can get him for free or even a cut price deal, he might be worth going for. I'm not saying he's going to set the world alight, but for a player with that much potential, when he doesn't get the chance to grow, you're really missing out on a talent that could potentially flourish into a top tier striker. I know he looks far from it here, but give him game time, give him a chance, and who knows what could happen with him. And there we go, guys. That is our team of 11 underrated Wonderkids in FM22. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to smash the like button. Let us know what list videos you'd like to see next, what Wonderkids you'd like to see focused on. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out my channel linked in the description. Thank you SPITCH for sponsoring the video, but most of all, have a great day everyone. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.